Good morning. Today is D-Day, the day when nearly 155,000 Allied troops landed in Normandy in a historic part of the war nicknamed Operation Overlord, which eventually was the beginning of the end of World War II and led to the surrender of the Nazis. It was a heroic day. 4,000 Allied forces were killed, but yet the bravery allowed within 1 week or less, 3 days, 350,000 Allied soldiers were in Normandy overtaking the Nazis. It also happens to be the day that Hebron was liberated in 1967. We all know yesterday was Jerusalem Day, which was celebrated wide and near, but a little less known is the day that Hebron was liberated. And the story goes that after Rabbi Goren, who was the chief rabbi of Israel and also a general in the army, after he came to the Kotel and he said the famous words, Har Habayit biyadenu, Temple Mount is in our hands, and blew the shofar and raised the flag over the city of Jerusalem, he stayed with the troops knowing that they were going to go to Hebron the next day. And they camped at the Etzion gateway where they were resting overnight that had been conquered. And he left instructions that he should be woken the next day when the soldiers went to Hebron. He woke up the next morning and he saw no soldiers there. Thinking that they had forgotten to wake him up and had left, he instructed his Jeep driver to drive towards Hebron. He didn't see any soldiers. He came into the city of 80,000 Palestinians who lived there, and there was not one soldier. All he saw was white flags of surrender. And he went straight to the tomb of Machpelah, which is where the matriarchs and patriarchs are buried. And he tried to blow open the door, which was chained with his Uzi. It didn't work. And then he used his Jeep to pull it open. And he went in and he prayed in the cave of Machpelah, which was the first time that Jews had prayed there for hundreds of years, because Jews were not allowed to go into the cave of Machpelah, to the tomb of Machpelah, where the matriarchs and patriarchs were buried. They only had these 7 steps outside where they allowed Jews to go. And if a Jew went any closer, they would beat them. And what they did in the tomb of Machpelah is they made pig pens, and they desecrated it, and they made a Muslim school, all on the place where the matriarchs and patriarchs were buried. And then Rabbi Goren blew shofar. Now Hebron is a special city. It's one of the 4 holy cities in Israel, and it's also the city where tradition has it is the gate to the Garden of Eden. It's a city where Abraham bought the first purchase of land ever recorded in history, and it's also the place where King David was anointed king and ruled for 7 years before he came to Jerusalem. And Jews lived there continuously till 1929, when there was a massacre and 67 Jews were killed in yeshiva, and Jews were forbidden to live there. And from then till 1967, the Jews didn't come in. Today, of course, you could go pray at the tomb, at the cave of the patriarchs and matriarchs in one of the holiest cities. The word Hebron comes from the word chaver, which means a friend, because Abraham was a friend of God, so to speak, and therefore it was called that name. Now, I would say that it's by no coincidence that today, D-Day, when it's 80 years since the famous D-Day, and the day Hebron was liberated, after Jews weren't allowed to live there, and who didn't live there from 1929, come on the same day. Because I think what Western civilization and the Western world has to realize, that what Israel's fighting for is tied into what the Western world wants. And if the Western world doesn't stand with Israel in its fight for values that we all believe in, and for the right for everyone to live in dignity, then there's no hope for the Western world. And that's what they have to remember. You know, in this week's Torah portion, we read the story of the counting of the Jewish people. Every soldier from 20 years and older was counted. But the tribe of Levi was counted from 30 days old. And the rabbis ask why. And the answer they give us, because the tribe of Levi, none of them sinned in the golden calf. And therefore they were rewarded that they were counted. And they became the ones who served in the temple. And they were counted from 30 days old. But the commentaries ask a question I don't understand. There was only 3,000 Jews who worshipped the golden calf. So what happened to the rest of the Jews? Why only Levi was rewarded? What happened to all the other Jews? And the answer the rabbis give is a powerful one. That when Moses came down from the mountain and he saw what happened, he said, whoever's with God, come stand with me and fight for the dignity of God. And only the tribe of Levi came. As it says in the Bible, Vayasva love Kol Bnei Levi, the whole tribe of Levi came. And what the rabbis say is something so powerful. It's not enough not to sin. It's not enough not to worship the golden calf. But you also have to stand up for the dignity and for the humanity of God in the world. And that's what the Western world has to realize now. If they stand on the sidelines and they cave to radical left pressure and to those who want to annihilate Israel and the Jewish people, it won't end with that. But it'll end with America and the rest of the world being fought by these countries. As we see just yesterday in Stanford University, they painted on the historic walls of a 157-year-old campus, on the stones, death to America, kill the cops, and hate to Israel. It's all connected one to the other. And we have to strengthen ourselves on the 80th anniversary of D-Day and come together and unite as a Western world to fight the tyranny, to fight Russia, to fight Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran and all those who are a danger to the free world. God bless you and have a great day.